From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening, I'm Amanda Yarusi.
And I'm Amanda Eiler. Thanks for joining us for the first Monday edition of Carolina Week for the new semester. Leaving for college means big changes for students, especially if you're studying in a different country. International students here at Carolina are adjusting to a new college, a new country, and a new culture. Carolina Week reporter Anush Hovsepian has the story.
Each of the nearly 2,000 international students at Carolina has to go through some sort of adjustment. For some, it's a big adjustment. Joanne Wenk came to Chapel Hill from Taiwan last year. She says it's not easy to bridge the cultural and linguistic gap and keep pace with the American students at the same time.
Being an international student here, sometimes you feel yourself handicapped in language or culture. And I know everything in my country, but when people start to talk about their news or their famous anchor or famous journalists, everybody knows in this country, and I just have no clue. So I have to study harder than anybody else just to get to know those stuff.
Croatian Orlando Obat says the realities of life in America don't always meet the expectations at first.
You come to the United States and you're like, oh, this is such a great country. And then it's just like, down, down, down. And I think you go really down up until like the end of the first semester. You just question everything. Then second semester, I think you started going up, 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 up a little.
Dr. Kathy Packer has been working with international students for almost 10 years. She says the hardest part for all international students is the first semester. After that, she starts to see international students settling into life at Carolina.
The first semester is a very, very difficult time. It's the most wonderful sensation to them to be able to offer advice to a new student, and then by that to be able to see how well they've adjusted. The second year, all of a sudden, I see the flower blossom.
Those flowers just need a little time. In Chapel Hill, I'm Anush Hovsepian, Carolina Week.
The greatest number of international students come to UNC from China, followed by India and Korea.
More than 100 people in Chapel Hill got a lesson about the media from a former international journalist. Dr. Robert Jensen from the University of Texas School of Journalism spoke Saturday about the declining trust in the media. He says journalists need to take new steps to regain the public's trust. Jensen's the author of the book, Writing Dissent. In addition to teaching at Texas, he's very active in foreign policy, after spending more than a decade as an international journalist. The Arts and Sciences will get a new dean soon, and the selection committee wants Carolina's input. The committee wants to know what qualities students, faculty, and staff of UNC Chapel Hill want in the new dean. You can voice those opinions at open meetings this week.
Farmers, life isn't always a bed of roses. Or is it? Reporter Courtney Robinson tells us more.
My name is Ken Dawson, and I'm a full-time vegetable and cut flower producer. It's been my full-time occupation for about 20 years now. It's a year-round business, and we're harvesting flowers from March all the way to October. On any given day, we try to cut our flowers early in the morning.
Cutting flowers isn't as easy as it looks. This isn't your typical 9-to-5 job. It requires early mornings to avoid the heat of the sun and back pains after countless hours of stooping over to pick just the right flower. So sometimes, after a hard day's work, gardeners have to stop and smell the flowers.
Dawson grows more than 50 different types of flowers in his garden. He enjoys the shape, color, and variety of sunflowers. He says he has many favorite flowers.
I like some of the more unusual and new flowers that we grow, Lisianthus, Campanula, some of those things that are more challenging. They're interesting because they're not easy to grow. We try to cut each flower right at its optimum stage for harvest rather than staying in the field too long. So we cut flowers several days a week, put them in a cooler, and then on Friday all the flowers come out of the cooler, get added to the ones that we have picked fresh that day, and are assembled into bouquets or buckets, organized and ready to go to market.
So are the bumblebees and butterflies that enjoy meals from Dawson's Flowers. And they aren't the only ones who like his flowers. Customers at the Carrboro Farmers Market are also pleased by the abundance of his fresh-cut flowers. A longtime shopper at the market, Denise Vanderwood, has bought flowers from Dawson for more than 15 years.
You get more for your money, and they're better quality, and they last longer, they're fresher, and they're more beautiful. So you get more variety.
Variety and beauty attract the local shoppers, and the low prices keep them coming back. Ann Sassaman says the prices are great, but her reasons for coming back are different.
They are fresh, and I like buying things from people who grow them.
As long as customers like Vanderwood and Sassaman support the local farmers and the market, Dawson will continue selling his flowers. In Carrboro, I'm Courtney Robinson, Carolina Week.
You can find Dawson's Flowers and lots of other locally grown goodies every Saturday morning at the Carrboro Farmers Market. We've all heard the term, "you dirty dog."
But that saying doesn't apply in Chapel Hill. Our dogs are very clean. Some dogs actually hitched a ride to the 15th annual Dog Wash at Whole Foods Market Saturday to raise money to help fight muscular dystrophy. Some mutts got cleaned up, while others just took the day easy. Several took the opportunity to show off the hottest fashions or swing to the music. Stephanie Harper has muscular dystrophy. She says the event shows that people in the area care about those facing the disease.
I think it's great that in Chapel Hill that they can support the local people who have neuromuscular disorders, and it really means a lot. I think we're raising a lot of money today.
Volunteers washed about 200 dogs and raised nearly $4,000. The dog wash wasn't the only thing going on in Chapel Hill Saturday. There was a football game here, wasn't there, Chris?
Not at all.
I mean, you know, first we've got Florida State, then we've got Syracuse. What's going on, Chris?
I will tell you guys, the Heels made a game out of this one. The Seminoles definitely embarrassed the Heels last week, but we'll see if the Orangemen can do the same. The Tar Heels' pride is hanging in the balance. More when Carolina Week Sports returns. It's not a goat.
UNC TV. Your remote stops here.
You'd never know it on the battlefield, but nearly half of today's military are National Guard and reservists. However, they can't answer our nation's call without their employer's support. If you're an employer, visit esgr.org and find out how to do your part. After all, their response depends on yours.
After being shut out 37-0 by Florida State last week, the Heels had a lot of questions to answer heading into Saturday's game against Syracuse. Two come to mind. One, can the defense limit the Orangemen's scoring? And two, can the Carolina offense even put points on the board? Well, Dan Orner answers the second question with a 46-yard field goal to cap the Heels' opening drive. The scoring, yes, scoring, continues with Darian Durant's first touchdown of the season to walk-on tight end John Dunn in the back of the end zone. It's 10-0 early on. The Heels answer a Syracuse touchdown with freshman Mike Mason's first score of his Carolina career. It's a 44-yard pass play from Durant. Mason likes it, the fans like it, and it's 17-7. The Heels' offense was clicking behind Durant's lead. In the third quarter, he finds his man. It's Jaworski Pollock in the back of the end zone. Pollock had 10 catches for 95 yards to lead the Tar Heel receivers. The defense did have a few big plays, including this big stop on fourth down at the goal line late in the game. But the Orangemen kept rolling back in the second half. Rolling, get it? The field goal with 27 seconds left ties the game at 34, and we're going to overtime. In the first OT, Walter Reyes scores for the Orangemen. He chalked up 191 yards rushing against the Heels defense. So, Coach, who's going to answer the call? It's Durant, of course. He drops back and decides he has no one open. He's going to take it himself. He weaves through the Syracuse defense and into the end zone to tie the score. We head to the third overtime. Yes, Ramses, the third OT. The Heels must make a two-point conversion to tie the game. This flip pass to Jock Lewis doesn't work, and the Heels lose a heartbreaker, 49-47. Coach Bunning and the Heels say their offense improved, but their defense still needs improvement.
I bet there'll be evidence when we watch the tape that some players played well enough to win on defense, but it is an 11-man effort on each play. It is truly. Until we find that right combination, until we find guys that can help us stop the run, but in particular, we're going to give up some yards.
We're improving by the week. So, I mean, we got a bye week. We're going to work really hard. Then we got another week for Wisconsin. I think we're going to be ready for them. I think we're going to pull out a win. We're tired of losing.
The objective of the game is to score more points than your opponent, and if it's 50 or is it 10, we have to accept the challenge.
Durant sure hopes he won't have to score 50 a game. He did finish with 316 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. He also led the Heels in rushing with 68 yards, including his big TD in the first overtime. Now to men's soccer. On Friday, junior Marcus Story showed critics why he was named the ACC Player of the Week by scoring for the 3rd consecutive game, leading the Heels to a 3-0 victory against New Hampshire. Story scored 8 goals a year ago and already has 4 this season. On Sunday, the 8th-ranked Heels tied Vermont 1-1, but still managed to win the Smith Marty Soccer Classic with a 1-0-1 record in the tournament. 3 Tar Heels made the all-tournament team. The men aren't the only group of soccer players doing well this season. The women are undefeated, thanks to the talents of a special player. Luke Notstein reports.
It's a fitting title that the women's soccer tournament over the weekend was called the Carolina Classic. The Tar Heels completely dominated by outscoring opponents 10-0 in 2 games. One of the main reasons for the Heels' success is sophomore midfielder Lori Kolupny.
And she's taken over the team as our field leader. She's taken over as our scoring leader. I mean, she's made this team hers, and right now she's playing with the greatest passion and the greatest commitment, and I'm very excited about what she did today.
Dorrance has good reason to be excited this year, as Kolupny notched her first career hat trick against Nebraska on Sunday. She was named tournament MVP, she already has 5 goals, and if she keeps playing this way, the Heels will be tough to beat come tournament time.
Yeah, we want to get the championship back. We've lost it the last 2 years, and that's not what this university is used to doing, and we want to get it back this year.
Kolupny does it all, as she even starred for Carolina in England earlier this season. Watch for the Heels to be near the top again this year. I'm Luke Notstein for Carolina Week Sports.
The women travel to Texas this weekend to play in the Houston College Challenge. Their next home game is Wednesday, September 17th against Guilford. On Saturday, the 17th-ranked Tar Heels lost their first match of the season to the Spartans of Michigan State, 3-0. On Sunday, the Heels fell 3-1 to the host team South Carolina and stand at 3-2 on the year. The field hockey team is unbeatable. The Heels shut out the Michigan State Spartans 3-0 on Saturday. Then on Sunday afternoon, Rachel Dawson's hat trick left the Temple Owls in the dark. Tar Heels win 6-1. That's about all we have for Sports Monday from Carolina Week.
So do you think the men and women's soccer team, they're going to make the run for the Final Four? Looking like they're doing
Amanda, I would not bet against
pretty good.
Either of those teams. I'm rooting for them all the way.
As are we, definitely.
Thanks, Chris. That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching. Good night.